Dominican developer signs contract to build a beach resort in Salisbury. $50,000 from the First Caribbean Bank expected to help reverse the impact of Tropical Storm Erica on the Seneca Primary School. And government considers introducing tougher laws to protect the environment. I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. The details coming up. And first up, government has signed an agreement with a Dominican hotel developer to construct a beach resort in Salisbury.
The 73-room Tranquility Beach Resort project is expected to begin within a year. This is the second real estate project approved under the Citizenship by Investment program and the first by a Dominican. The man behind the venture is Ian Edwards, an architectural designer living in Anguilla. The agreement was signed between government and Edwards' company, Sunstone Incorporated, on Friday. At that ceremony, Edwards also presented an environmental impact assessment of the project to government.
The beginning of that dream was realized about a year and a half ago when I bought the perfect piece of property on the coast of Salisbury. I embarked upon intensive research, planning, and design to progress my vision before meeting with the government. Tranquility Beach Resort, Curio, a collection by Hilton, will be a 73-room hotel with amenities including spa, gym, restaurant, conference facilities, and more.
Edwards says he could not yet provide a final budget for the project since drawing designs are incomplete. Prime Minister Skerrit has encouraged Dominicans based overseas with project ideas to partner with government.
I also commend Mr. Edwards and his team for having attracted the attention of the Hilton chain to operate the facility on its completion. In recent weeks, I have addressed a number of gatherings internationally in which the Dominica CBI program was being promoted. I consider these engagements to be very successful, not only because they were well attended, but more so because the Dominica CBI program was well received by all participants. I look forward to the start of construction phase of this project. I urge our citizens, particularly those on the West Coast, to identify a niche for yourself in the opportunities that the construction of this resort will bring.
The Citizenship by Investment program targets potential Dominican citizens and is geared towards encouraging foreign direct investment.
The value of the project, all of the funds that will be raised for this project will be deposited in our local banks. So it will be in the local banks, spent in Dominica, so it's not resident in any foreign bank. All of the funds for this development is deposited into an escrow account, and that escrow account is jointly managed by the government and the developer. So the two signatories to this account. And in the case of the government, the signatory is the financial secretary. So for funds to be withdrawn from this account, the developer has to send an invoice, a request to the government stating what these funds, the amounts, and what the amounts will be used for.
Next, a $50,000 donation will put education authorities in a better position to repair the Seneca Primary School, which was damaged by Tropical Storm Erica. CIBC First Caribbean International Bank has pledged $50,000 to the Ministry of Education for that project. The bank presented the check on Friday.
The funds will be utilized for the construction of a new courthouse at the Seneca Primary School, where students had been displaced since the passage of Tropical Storm Erica. We think that restoration of educational facilities is a critical aspect of our recovery, and the donation is going to lend significantly to the overall efforts to return the educational system to normalcy. More broadly, the bank is cognizant of the negative impact of Tropical Storm Erica on the economy of Dominica. We have responded by improving both the access to and cost of credit for existing and potential customers.
Education Minister Peter Saint-Jean says FCIB has recognized the challenge the state is experiencing in recovering from Storm Erica.
You are assisting us in ensuring that we deliver to our Kalinago Braves quality education in an environment that is conducive to their holistic development. A number of our schools were actually decommissioned as a result of Tropical Storm Erica. And even in the cases where schools have recommenced the operations in some of the buildings, there is still quite a significant amount of work that must be done to bring them back to pre-Erica state. And of course, it is our view that in building back Dominica, that we ought to focus on doing it better than it was before Erica.
And on now to the police, who are investigating a break-in at the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. The incident reportedly took place Thursday. What we know so far is that the gunmen wearing masks forced their way into the building, making off with important files and documents. There has been concern in the public over the level of security available at such institutions in the past. I spoke with the Director of Public Prosecutions, who confirmed that her office was burglarized but could not comment further in light of the police investigations. Next, government is considering banning the use of styrofoam products and introducing stricter laws against littering. Prime Minister Skerrit says he is displeased with the level of indiscriminate littering and on Friday expressed the intention to introduce new legislation to discourage the practice.
People are dumping indiscriminately. You know, we're drinking from a styrofoam cup and we're done. We simply just throw it off the bus or throw it off, you know, on the streets. And we cannot speak about nature island of the world and when we're not making any contribution to keep our country clean and beautiful. And I think that in New Year, the government has to take a more serious approach towards litter.
Mr. Skerrit says he will hold consultations with the private sector, importers and environmental groups on the possible banning of styrofoam.
We will be putting more wardens out there. If we have to strengthen legislation, if we have to set aside a night court to bring those of us who would be found with the law to prosecute us, we're going to do those things. And the other thing that we have to look at and we have to discuss and engage the stakeholders on, in the next year we need to start discussing the issue of the banning of styrofoam cups, styrofoam plates, and non-biodegradable plastic bags in our country.
We now move on to agriculture, where the head of Extension is calling on farmers to get involved in potato cultivation since the local production falls below market demands. On Friday, over $1,000 worth of elite white potato seeds were brought into the island for sale to farmers. This program continues through the Propel project funded by the Canadian government. Felix Leslie says the cost of the seeds will be an incentive for farmers to start production.
The grade A seeds last year was sold at $80 a bag, okay? And although we have elite seeds this year, and we'll get more seeds per bag, but it will remain at $80. Discussing with the permanent secretary and the acting director of agriculture, it was agreed that since farmers are coming out of Erica and some of them have financial pressure and issues relating to that, the ministry at this time will not increase the cost per bag.
Leslie says farmers will harvest higher quantity and better quality potatoes.
Last year, with the grade A seeds, farmers receive a certain quantity in each 25 kg bag. But the same poundage or the same weight this year, the farmers will receive at least 3 times in terms of planting material.
He says the grade A 25 kilogram bags normally contain about 300 seeds, while these elite seeds in the same size bags contain over 1,000 seeds. Farmers now have an option to reduce on the number of bags they purchase or expand production and increase productivity. The Ministry of Agriculture is hoping that in the next season the elite seeds will produce 3 times more. Coming up on the Channel 5 News, Crime Stoppers and the agenda for 2016 and where you can hook up with the Music Lovers Band this weekend. The renovation and expansion of a new multi-million-dollar hospital by the Chinese government is a key part of government's policy to improve the health of all Dominicans and those visiting the country. The Minister for Planning, Economic Development and Investment has said that the Pan-American Health Organization will provide technical support to the Ministry of Health to ensure a swift transition. A contract was signed last weekend and work is due to start on the hospital early in the new year.
We are grateful that the Chinese have also committed to providing medical equipment, and we will also ensure the training of medical specialists to augment the service.
Minister of State in the Prime Minister's office with responsibility for project planning and implementation, Senator the Honorable Miriam Blanchard, has been praised for the work she has done on this project.
I'd also like to specially thank the Minister, Honorable Blanchard, for her, her work in terms of getting it to the state. Over the last couple of days, almost a week plus, Minister Blanchard has been working tediously in making sure we arrive at the state. And I must say special thanks to her. And of course the team of, the Ministry of Health, who I must admit, through negotiations and discussions, that's why we are here today.
Alternative sites being looked at for location of the new Marigot Hospital. A steering committee has proposed a 2-year time frame for completion of the new facility. The issue of the status of the Marigot Hospital has been raised by the MP for Marigot in Parliament.
As a first step and possible alternative for the construction of a new Marigot Hospital, an assessment of the current site was requested from the Ministry of Public Works and Ports to include a structural assessment and an estimate for major renovation to the existing building. The report concluded that the facilities would require extensive repairs to the tune of approximately $3 million EC. The report also concluded that the best way forward would be for the construction of a completely new building, as it was very possible that the cost of renovation would increase dramatically as works progressed and new unseen issues would surface. Secondly, as requested by the steering committee, 3 sites were proposed by the district health team as possible sites for construction of the new hospital. The current location, the Marigot Foundation High School, and the site, close to the former St. Andrew High School.
The minister says while plans are underway for a new hospital, provision is also being made to upgrade the current facility.
The scale, scope, and estimates for the minor but urgent repairs to the hospital are currently being prepared in consultation with the Technical Services Division of the Ministry of Public Works and Ports, as an extract from the assessment done recently. This budget is approximately $100,000, and a request for the approval of the scope and estimate will be presented shortly.
Crime Stoppers Dominica will be stepping up its awareness campaign in 2016.
This was made possible through money obtained from its breakfast fundraiser in November. Crime Stoppers allows individuals who are aware of a crime to report it anonymously. There are immediate plans in place to put the money to use in alleviating crime in Dominica.
We plan on doing some public relations activities, erecting some billboards, as well as doing some community program, rollout events in possibly Marigot and the Grand Bay. So some of those funds will definitely assist us in that regard. Some of the funds we intend as well to use towards our administrative costs, as well as our marketing program that we intend to advance in 2016.
Earlier this week, Crime Stoppers received a financial contribution from the National Cooperative Credit Union, which will be used to further develop its programs on island.
So far, the Crime Stoppers program has been very effective, I must say. Since the Crime Stoppers program began in 2012, it has led to about 20 arrests, and the number of tips that has been received has been actionable, assisting the police towards solving crimes. So we just want to encourage people, organizations that are out there that could assist Crime Stoppers program. Our mission is basically working together with the police to apprehend people and also to raise the awareness in terms of solving crime in Dominica.
Crime Stoppers allows you to provide assistance to the authorities without being directly involved in the investigations. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
And yet another delay for the move of the Grotto home to its new location in Bellevue Roll.
The institution's PRO Parry Bellot made the disclosure during an interview with Channel 5 News. In November, board members of the home had projected a move to Bellevue Roll by Christmas. However, due to unfortunate circumstances, among them a recent break-in, this plan has been changed.
Quite frankly, the longer we wait for moving, where we are is getting more and more dilapidated. And it's posing the new place more at risk. It's so terrible that people, would break in. They know this place is for those in need and so on, but thieves don't care. Eh? They break into the churches and steal carpets and whatever they can get and so on. We therefore had to put security again. We had security, couldn't afford it, had to stop it and so on. We've had to make sure we have emergency security again. And it's taking from the little monies that we have. One of the key holding backs is the fence for the area. We really need.
The new date for the move to Bellevue Roll is early 2016.
Definitely within the first quarter, maybe even by the end of January, one is hoping, Because in fairness, as a result of Erica, people now know about Dominica and so on, and what are the areas of need. And although Grotto has been an area of need for a long time, but at least they now know you really need a little money for the new place. So we're getting a little more than we got, the last few months. And also Christmas time, people think of institutions like the Grotto. So we're hoping they continue with those thoughts.
Construction of the new Grotto home in Bellevue Royal started in 2008 and was completed in 2014. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
And if you are looking for some affordable entertainment on Saturday night, the Botanic Gardens is the place to be for some Christmas music. The Dominica Government Band, Music Lovers Band, will be performing at the Nature Island Christmas Wonderland on Saturday evening. Corporal of the band, Peter Leighton, says once patrons pay the entrance fee to the Wonderland, they'll be able to enjoy the music and everything else. Leighton says the fees will go towards upkeep of the Botanic Gardens.
We have been preparing right after the summer. They get lovely carols, sing-alongs, and even some songs that they can dance to.
On Sunday, the band will perform at the State Prison, the Infirmary, and the hospital. That's news. Sports is next with Kenny Williams.
Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. We begin with football. There were 2 victories and 1 premature end to a match in Thursday's edition of the DFA Division 1 League. Glenville Renegades defeated Starin and Son St. Joseph 3-0 at Benjamin Park. Usher George, Leroy Laurent, and Jason Wilshire each scored 1 for Renegades. Meantime, at the Poirier playing field, the match between Petro Caribbean Point Michel and Police SC ended with 15 minutes of play remaining when the match officials stated that a missile came from the crowd onto the field of play. Scores at the time were 4-1 in favor of Point Michel. The DFA awaits the referee's report. In the second match that night, Cube Cheese Barbershop Bath Estate pounded Canefield FC 5-1. Derrickson McDonald registered a hat-trick for Bath Estate, with 1 each coming from Warren Warrington and Anderson Lawrence. Abdul Abraham scored the lone goal for Canefield. Still in Division 1 football, 7 matches are scheduled for the weekend. Gerald George has details.
On Saturday, Mahosuka Strikers will come up against Nemesis United at 3 p.m. at the Benjamin Park in Portsmouth, while in a doubleheader at the Newtown playing field, RIC Kensborough will battle Fokole United at 3 p.m. to be followed by Gawley Dream Team versus Grand Four Young Boys at 5 p.m. And at the Castle Bruce playing field, Element Agencies LA Stars will take on Wayne George Academy at 3 p.m. On Sunday, Itassi United will come up against Starin and Son St. Joseph at the Benjamin Park from 3 p.m. while in a doubleheader at the Newtown playing field, ROC Doctors will do battle with Cube Cheese Barbershop Bath Estate at 3 p.m. to be followed by Canefield Football Club versus Trafalgar Football Club at 5 p.m.
In some more football, Acting FIFA President Issa Hayatu calls for a rebuilt organization that is fully accountable to football. The world's football governing body has been engulfed by claims of widespread corruption since summer 2015. Hayatu says the people dedicated to football around the world deserve nothing less from those responsible for governing and guiding global football. In the open letter published Friday, Hayatu outlined key points of how FIFA would be reformed, which includes a clear separation of power between the political and financial operations of FIFA, where all financial transactions will be monitored by a fully independent body, member associations being accountable for conduct of their team and third parties they work with, strict term limits of 3 to 4 years of senior positions, which will ensure that no one person can wield too much power or influence, the full participation of women at all levels of football governance, and central integrity checks by an independent body for all appointments to FIFA bodies and senior management. Moving on to cricket. The Dominica Cricket Association will be hosting an annual general meeting this weekend to discuss matters pertaining to cricket in Dominica. Mervyn Paul has details.
The Dominica Cricket Association wishes once again to remind all cricket teams and clubs of its annual general meeting carried to be held at 10 o'clock Saturday the 19th of December at Garaway Hotel. Again, all teams and clubs are asked to make a very special effort to attend and to be on time so as to ensure that all matters pertaining to the management of cricket in Dominica be discussed thoroughly.
Still in cricket, In the second test between Sri Lanka and New Zealand, Sri Lanka batted first and was 264 for 7 on day 1. Angelo Matthews and Melinda Siriwadna showed the most resistance, scoring 63 and 62 respectively. New Zealand's Trent Booth took 2 for 43 and Tim Southey 2 for 51. And finally in cricket, West Indies will be hoping for a better performance when they play a tour match against Victoria 11 from December 19 to 20. The Windies lost their last tour match by 10 wickets to Cricket Australia 11. Still in sports, Sports Administrator Joseph Thomas says enough is not being done to promote sports in Dominica. He adds that media houses play a vital role in developing sports, and it goes beyond just writing stories.
I don't think we in Dominica are paying enough attention, and I don't think the media understands the role that they can play in the furtherance of the development of sport, more so the furtherance of national development. Every aspect of sport, I mean, it's not only a question of writing something, writing a few lines in the papers, or giving a little something on the news in the evening.
The sports administrator says the programs aired at local media houses are not effective enough to help in sports development locally.
I would like to see more of those. Why is it that we can't have a sports program, 4 times a week, 5 times a week? What is preventing us from doing it? What we're going to be doing is pressuring the communities to do well as far as sport is concerned, pressuring the sports clubs to do well, pressuring the national associations to do well, and ultimately, Dominica will do well.
Thomas says getting young people involved in sports can help in the fight against some diseases.
We hear so much talk of chronic non-communicable diseases nowadays, and the sugary foods that the kids nowadays take in, the not so wholesome foods. We've got to get our kids involved in sport, and the only way we can do that, or one of the ways, that we can do that, is by the media playing a very important role.
And finally, 3 matches are on the cards for the quarterfinals of the National Rounders League on Sunday. At Maho, Maxroy Conquerors will go head-to-head with Sequel Rising Stars. At Portersville Savannah, it will be a showdown between Bubic Strikers and Matadors. Then over at Portsmouth, AGS Dynamic Stars and Posse Rock Stars will put on a show of bat and ball action. The matches are scheduled for 12 noon. That's all the time we have for sports. I am Kenny Williams. Join us again next time.
Your weather report is coming up next.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I will be your presenter for this evening, Farah Rock Korea. A high-pressure system was the dominant feature today, resulting in generally partly cloudy skies across the Lesser Antilles this afternoon. Earlier visible satellite imagery showed some low-level clouds across the Dominica and the rest of the Lesser Antilles this afternoon. Earlier radar imagery indicated some scattered shower activity across the Lesser Antilles. The weather tonight is expected to be partly cloudy to cloudy and breezy with a few scattered showers, and these conditions will persist into tomorrow. All users of the sea are advised to exercise caution. Sea conditions are expected to be moderate and waves are expected to be up to 8 feet and to peak up to 10 feet over the weekend. What can we expect for the next 3 days? Occasional cloudiness with a few scattered showers, and also some breezy conditions are expected throughout the 3-day period. A high-pressure system is expected to remain a dominant feature across the Caribbean, resulting in occasional cloudiness and some scattered showers across the island chain. The international city forecast: fair to partly cloudy skies are expected across New York, Miami, London, and Caracas, and some beautiful sunny skies expected in Beijing. The sun is expected to rise tomorrow at 6:26 a.m. and set at 5:39 p.m. For more information, you could always visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Join us next time for your next weather broadcast. Thank you.
Dominican developer signs contract to build beach resort in Salisbury. $50,000 from First Caribbean Bank expected to help reverse the impact of Tropical Storm Erica on the Seneca Primary School. And government considers introducing tougher laws to protect the environment. Feel free to email us at news@mapping2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube page. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thanks for watching. Do have a good weekend.